1. Welcome in to the latest episode of Betting the Pitch, the MLB edition. I'm your host, real_G Warner, joined by @ABrooksBets. We are 6-0, our last 6 best bets, 3 pods undefeated. We're going for 4. How you feeling @ABrooksBets?
I'm feeling good. Hopefully people start jumping on the train. Hockey's over, basketball's over. There's only one thing to bet on. Well, unless you follow soccer, I guess. The other
Hey
footy.
now.
But yeah, American sports for the most part. It's really baseball. Dog days of summer start now. So exciting to drill into it.
Yeah, before we get into this card, because there's a million games on Wednesday that have undecided pitchers, I've filled them out, but trusting whatever resources throughout the internet are always a dangerous game. What do you think about, because to me, it feels like a lot of teams are just itching to the All-Star break and need it really bad. Do you agree with that sentiment? Because we still got a while. I mean, it's June 25th. We got a couple weeks left
Yeah.
still.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of ran down the whole league, and there's really only 5 teams that I say are completely out of it. I mean, the Angels, the White Sox, the Marlins, the Rockies, and probably the Angels.
You already
Everybody
said the
else
Angels.
is,
You already said the Angels. You said
oh
Angels.
no, I don't know what my other team is then.
The Blue Jays, who you say are
No,
finishing
yeah,
bottom.
well, they're technically still in it, but um, the A's, that's my 5th
A's.
team.
So 2 teams in the AL West, and everyone is
Yeah,
still under 500 except for the Mariners.
yeah. So I'm just very interested in the trade deadline and the All-Star break in general. This is the kind of time where you can sneak into the playoffs like the Rangers and the Diamondbacks get all the way to the promised land. Or are we going to see the Yankees and the Dodgers in a full steam course ahead? It's interesting with the expansion of the playoffs. I think it adds a little intrigue. I'm enjoying it myself. The
Well, at
Red
this
Sox are
point, good.
in the playoffs as of today.
Yeah, the Sox have been on a roll. I feel
Yeah.
like it's you can never predict the number 1 seeds to make it anymore. That's why it's so hard.
Yeah.
I'm glad we don't fill out Major League Baseball brackets. Granted, my March Madness bracket died on the first day this year with Kentucky. I got one question for you on the deadline and your expectation before we move on to our Wednesday card. We'll get best bets end of show. If you're not following us on Twitter @ABrooksBets, @the_real_G Warner, make sure you're following the real_G Warner across all the social media platforms, YouTube, Instagram, plus Betting the Pitch on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all those sort of things. Leave 5-star reviews, et cetera, et cetera. Garrett Price asked me, do you think that Garrett Crochet, I don't know if it's a Garrett thing, but do you think Garrett Crochet is getting dealt before the deadline?
I would say no, but I do think that he's going to get shut down or workload limited. I don't think he's pitched more than 120 innings in his life in a year. So I'd be surprised if he goes over 150. I'm kind of counting on that because he's second right now in the league in strikeouts, and Freddie is 5th. So I need him to make up some ground. Tyler Glasnow is my biggest competition. I don't pray for injuries, but maybe like a broken
I
nail,
mean,
like a broken nail, like he misses a start or two,
you
and
don't
then
need you don't need to
we get
pray
up there. I
for
might
Tyler
might need that.
Tyler Glass managers you don't need to pray for. They're coming. They are
Yeah.
near. They are coming. They will be here soon enough. I would say yes that Garrett Crochet is getting traded because I think with
Okay.
contract reasons, the White Sox need bodies, not star players right now. I think he has 1 year left in his deal, so that would certainly pull some better value. Plus, I think he's going to get shut down as well, which will then someone's gonna have to figure that out. Whoever's trading for him will probably, I think, move him to a bullpen role. But we've seen in the playoffs, bullpen's just as important as a starting pitcher, sometimes more. So I'll start in the National League with a day game. Got a bunch of day games on here. No starter, no line on this one, but it looks like Luis Ortiz from Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. Graham Ashcraft. Ashcraft coming up from the minors for this start. Um, are Pittsburgh and Cincinnati basically just the same team? One wears black and one wears red.
Yeah, that's probably about right. Ashcraft has been terrible. Lodolo did go down onto the IL, so he's back up, and they
Yeah.
don't want him. They don't want him to be pitching major league innings right now, though. Ortiz, I don't know too much about. The home team, Cincinnati. I don't see the line like you said, but there might be an opportunity to go over here in Cincinnati.
Yeah, I mean, ball's starting to fly, it's
Yeah.
starting to get hot. And we're hot as well. 6-0 last three podcasts. Don't you forget it. Moving next to Washington and DJ Hers, a North Carolinian. Apparently, North Carolina has put a very high percentage. I think they're second highest state in terms of major leaguers right now, which to me sounds nuts, but I heard that. He's visiting Dylan Cease in San Diego. We do have a line for this one. Dylan Cease, who's been horrible lately, but didn't matter, came back against me. Unfortunately, the Padres did on Friday night when he left early. Cease minus 180 favorite bet line, total of 7.5, juiced all the way to over. DJ Hers I've followed, and I think I bet his first three starts for 2-1, which was amazing because the first one was a loss and the others looked dangerous at times. But Washington closed the favorite tonight with Matt Mackenzie Gore at Adam Major, who's horrible. Shouldn't be starting, but I guess that's why it was a favorite type of scenario. What do you think about Dylan Cease? Do you trust him? Is he in your trust circle?
No, he's not in my trust circle. If you like strikeouts, though, watch this game. I was looking up DJ Hers as well. He had to start 6 innings, 13 Ks.
13 against the
Yeah,
Fish.
one
Yeah.
hit. Yeah, so that was good. And then he pitched in Colorado last time out, and we all know how that can go. I wouldn't, put a black mark on his card just for a rough outing in Mile High City. But no, I don't trust Dylan Cease either. I actually love this number for the Nationals. I know they're on the road. This young pitcher could match Cease, I think, at a plus 160-ish. Give
Yep.
me the Nationals.
Yeah, I feel like the Nationals, I mean, you could always look at run line too, which might not be too expensive for them to lose by a run. Probably only be 8 at bats for San Diego. If they get 9, then you're in good shape. At least you're tied to that point or ahead. I think DJ Hers, there some concern for me. I mean, big outing against the Marlins with big strikeout total. I think entering this week, the Marlins in 26 games against left-handed starting pitchers. Do you want to guess how many wins they had?
The
26.
Marlins? Oh, God, yeah, just say
26.
4. I don't know. Yeah, not very many.
Yeah,
They don't have many
three
wins over 100
more
years.
than you and I have had against left-handed pitchers. So one
Yeah.
less than your four. It
I've
was
got a lefty righty split stat coming later too.
okay. Can't wait.
Preview
We'll move
teaser.
next to Atlanta, St. Louis. I guess I totally missed this game getting rained out tonight or something like that. Oops to my
It
fantasy
did.
team. LOL. But we got Bryce Elder, who's looking like he's coming up for this start, which feels like this number can't be right because he does not deserve to be a minus 184 favorite, even if San Diego is throwing undecided. It looks like a combo of Elder and Ronaldo Lopez against St. Louis's. I think Kyle Gibson is supposed to go today. Plus tomorrow will be Palante in some
Ayante.
form or fashion. Yeah. While I look for a number, do we believe as a betting the pitch Major League Baseball podcast, do we believe in Ronaldo Lopez? Because his numbers are fire.
I don't think I believe in him as much as you do, but I'm impressed. Don't get me wrong. I've waited for him to be like this. Granted, it was the White Sox where he did most of his prospect raising, but
Yep.
he's obviously on a much better team and in a good spot. Probably a lot better coaching, the whole organization, everything. He's looking up for sure. I mean, he's been pitching great. Our boy from Texas, Bryce Elder, yeah, he's gonna this is a struggle spot for him in that other game. But how about Texas stealing the A&M coach today in college baseball? Little college baseball note for everybody. That was pretty funny. Texas A&M, for those that don't follow college baseball, Texas A&M just lost the national championship game, and one day
Bad.
later, their coach bolted College Station for Austin, Texas, because we fired our coach 3 days ago. Crazy stuff. There's going to be some serious rivalry rematch and boiling over here come the fall,
Well,
and
as
when we move into the same conference, it'll be fun.
both members of this MLB podcast, we are graduates of the University of Texas at Austin, and I think the Aggies already hated us Longhorns already. I can
Yeah.
only imagine, like, I don't know, like they
You thought
probably,
stealing Chris Beard from Tech was bad. I think this might be, yeah,
yeah.
pretty hated.
Hopefully he doesn't beat his wife or choke her or something like
Yeah.
that, just because his wife or girlfriend or fiance breaks his reading glasses. Yeah, so I can't figure out what this number is. This might be a stale one. Maybe with Ronaldo Lopez supposed to be pitching against Palante. It looks to me like Elder's gonna go for one of these games. The early matchup looks like I'll just skip to it now, just for you know what's in giggles. Ronaldo Lopez and at Kyle Gibson. Looks like it's going to be an early start day game of a day night doubleheader. Lopez minus 133 favorite on the road. Over under is 8. She's pretty heavily to over. Atlanta seems like they're starting to wake up offensively.
Yeah, you're obviously going to get a much different number with Elder on the mound versus Lopez on the mound. And if you somehow find inefficiencies in that, you might be able to take advantage of it. Because yeah, what I'm seeing here doesn't make any sense either. But hey, log into your apps or whatever and try to see if you can snag one or figure out who's going to be pitching early and who's going to be pitching late. Because I know they just postponed that game like 30 minutes ago.
Yeah,
Um,
some odds makers do put out just action numbers. So for any of you,
right.
if you're, for instance, if basketball just ended or hockey just ended, and you are looking for a new sport to bet to get the fix, action numbers are really dangerous because it really lets the sports book decide what they're going to make the price at basically first pitch. Because there's no starting pitcher listed. I would forever, unless you're just don't care, which I feel like is hard to do in this business. If you're betting baseball, it's a lot of times best on or based on starting pitchers. Highly recommend you listing your pitchers so that if one gets scratched, you're not stuck with some sort of adjusted line that you are not really choosing yourself. One of those tips of don't let sports books have
Yeah.
an even bigger advantage than taking whatever 15-10% they're taking from us already. Moving next to Chicago Cubs and Mr. Undecided again here. And looking it up, it looked like Shota Imanaga will start this matchup. And probably a pretty big spot for him in San Francisco with a huge Japanese population. He's starting against some guy named Birdsong, which feels perfect. Like I don't know what name would fit better in San Francisco than that. But I imagine that Imanaga will be a favorite here. He got shellacked. I think his ERA climbed 1 whole run against the Mets on Friday afternoon at Wrigley. Do you see a bounce back here in a very difficult park to give up more home runs?
Um, I think both of these teams are so similar. In fact, entering Tuesday, they had the exact same record. Um, they both are big markets that don't really or aren't exactly on the forefront of spending at the moment. They can and they have been in the past, but um, yeah, just kind of two big market struggling teams. But I'm intrigued with Imanaga on the West Coast. There probably will be a lot of his fans in the stands. This guy Hayden Birdsong is the
Aiden.
Giants' number 6 prospect. Hayden, yeah, he's the number
Aiden.
6 prospect. He does strike out a lot of people. He's had great numbers at the Pacific Coast League, which is in Reno and um, New Mexico and a bunch of very, very hitter
Colorado
friendly parks.
Springs. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, hitters friendly parks. So that's impressive. Hopefully he can. I actually like backing pitchers on their debut. The exact opposite of pitchers when they come off the IL. I feel like that's a totally different thing, and they're
Yep.
all kind of juiced up, and nobody's seen them before. And I think that pitching, my old coach used to say, good pitching beats good hitting all the time. So if you can kind of get, they don't really have tape on you. I know there's sabermetrics down at the minors now in the last year or two, but so they've got a lot of notebook on these guys. But yeah, it used to be just like pencil and paper and like maybe the word of a scout, and then you got to face this guy. And if he throws like 95 miles an hour and you never seen him before, it just might be a little funky. And that's a spot I'm probably looking to back Birdsong here. You mentioned Imanaga's poor showing last time out, so we might see some poor form from him. He's probably a better pitcher in the long term, but give me some Birdsong at
Yeah.
home.
No price here. This is gonna be fun. We're gonna have like one game to pick from for our best
Yeah,
bet end of show, but stick around for that. I'll cut it into a 1 minute reel on YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels.
we'll get
That's
it right no matter
the
what it is.
order. And we will go to 8-0 at some point with that one line that'll be out there. Yeah, I feel like I'm not sure I'm fully with you on the debut part. I like to bet against pitchers on debuts, returns from ILs. But to your point on not having a lot of tape, I think that's probably the old school way to put it. I do think that it takes hitters, if you've never seen someone like a time through the order, to get used to somebody. And if you're the San Francisco Giants and you hit Imanaga really well early, that means Birdsong's off to a very, very good start. And if it takes 3 innings to get used to some guy, that's a huge, huge deal in Major League Baseball. Because honestly, a lot of the bets I'm making, I'm trying to win the first inning and then hold on for dear life. Moving now to the American League, we'll start with Seattle visiting Tampa Bay. George Kirby at Ryan Pepio. Currently Kirby at minus 117 favorite. Total is 7.5. Juices split both ways, so no telling where this one will head. Looks like some bets are coming in right now as my screen is flickering on under there. Pepio, who's not been, I mean, he's been up and down, but that's going to happen with a young pitcher. George Kirby has not been up and down. I feel like he's been awesome. Still, I guess he's added a slider. Doesn't seem to be walking as many guys. Well, he never walks people, but he's walking more guys now, and he seems to be more okay with that. Do you agree with Seattle at an 11:10 Central Time? So I guess that'd be 9:10 Pacific. Body clocks are probably way off, though they've been in Miami before this, and we're in somewhere on the East Coast before that as well. Long, long road trip. I think this is the last game before they go back out west. How do you think that puts, I guess, Seattle in a position for this early start?
Yeah, well, they have I guess he's their ace, right? He might I'll call it their
Well,
ace. He's ace
after Luis
adjacent.
Castillo's last two
Yeah.
starts, might be.
Yeah. They've got the right guy in the hill. I have bet against George Kirby. I've faded him this year and it has not gone well at all. I had Pepio on my fantasy team to start, and I dropped him last week. He's not to make room for Max Scherzer coming off the IL, who had an impressive start. I'm going to back Seattle here at this short favorite price. I know they're on the road, but George Kirby's going to speed through this game. They'll get out of here in 2.5 hours and fly back home. That's my guess.
Yeah, I think to the 2.5 hour point, that's kind of like average now. I know you're used to 4 hour Yankee Red Sox games. I think this might be an hour and a half. Like if you don't
I like
catch
the
it,
under
it
too. Yeah,
starts. Yeah, I think
under
under
seven and a
seven and
half.
a half or under 4 first half. Seattle's bullpen wasn't really available today, and they tried to push. I don't know if you saw the game, but I was watching this one very intently as I bet the Rays, and they made Luis Castillo. I mean, he was out there. I think it hit the 100 pitch mark and was just literally uncorking and throwing fastballs as hard as he could. And I don't know if that to me sounds like an injury waiting to happen in your 102nd pitch. But he walked the two guys and then brought in a reliever, and all of a sudden it went from a tie game to down 4 runs. Nice job by Mike Bauman and the rest of the Seattle bullpen. A close game turned into a blowout. I think under is my biggest interest in that one. Move next to another line. I guess we do have a line at Circa. I don't know how far we trust this one, but it looks like Ronzi Contreras is coming up, who had a lot of fanfare for the Angels. He's starting against Joey Estes, who throws a ton of fastballs, and they're not very good. Looks like Contreras is minus 119 favorite at home. Total is 9. Juice is split both ways. I feel like this is a series where I've been looking to back Oakland, and I've not been getting the prices I was looking for this entire time.
Yeah, this is kind of gross. I guess I'll take the home team. Estes has been terrible. Ronzi Contreras came out with Pittsburgh, I believe, right? Is that a
Yep.
recent
Yep.
trade? That was a trade
I
maybe
was gonna
like
say like I missed the trade if
yeah.
there was one.
Yeah, I think it was like a month ago or like during the season. So maybe a change of scenery. I think Ronzi Contreras, yeah, he has been talked about a lot in the prospect circles. He hasn't delivered yet, but he might have it in him. I'll take Los Angeles at the short home price here.
it was apparently just cash from or cash considerations, which I gotta say, not maybe the Pirates aren't the most sophisticated of organizations. I don't think that Roansy Contreras is suddenly learning how to pitch going to the Angels, where they're just gonna say throw a fastball down the middle and duck. Moving next to Cleveland at Baltimore, we got Cookie Carrasco at Grayson Rodriguez. I watched the pregame of the Orioles today, and they're like, "Don't panic, don't panic, don't panic." Which when a bunch of people coming in there are saying that same sort of thing, feels like there's some panic going on in Baltimore. Got swept for like the second time in a couple seasons at Houston this weekend. Series has not started off well with Cleveland, but they get Cookie Carrasco starting, so that's a huge benefit. Looks like the Orioles are minus 169. Nice favorite at home. Total is 9. Juice pretty heavily to over. Is there any way that we can back Cookie Carrasco, or are we just waiting for someone else to show up in that Cleveland rotation, which I think is the Gavin Williams spot, but I have no idea when he's coming up.
Yeah, I mean, this is the chink in the armor, right? Like this is the soft spot for the Guardians. Carrasco's not been very good, and Rodriguez has ace stuff. We all know he throws hard, and he's got elite prospect pedigree, and he's kind of delivering on it this year. But man, you look at it, Cleveland's won 7 in a row, Baltimore's lost 5 in a row, and you get this big number for Cleveland, and they're the same. They have the same record. I think Cleveland is just as good as Baltimore in the long run. I know they're on the road and they have the pitching disadvantage in this game, but at plus 160, I'll lean Guardians here, just due to recent form.
Yeah, I don't blame you. You can streaks last forever, end once. I mean, I think that's all a decent idea. It's I've just literally run into, and I feel like I've dodged the bullet by not backing Cleveland when Cookie was pitching this year. Seems like a great guy, beat leukemia. Everyone talks really highly of him, but man, he is not at a major league level. I think this is a perfect game for Baltimore to end the streak, but like I said, streaks continue for a very long time because that's what streaks do. We're going streaking through the quad, so I like Cleveland as well. Moving next to Toronto at Boston, we got Yadiel Rodriguez at Cutter Crawford. Somehow the Red Sox are minus 153 favorite with a starting pitcher who looks like his arm fell off. But Toronto's been really struggling. At A Brooks Betts has been calling Toronto a seller since probably this podcast started, and has recently said that they're going to finish bottom of the AL East. And it's looking like, I mean,
And they've lost 7 in a row. They haven't won a game since I last said that last podcast.
there we go. Well, let's see if it gets to 14 in a
Yep.
row. Then we're really onto something. Total here is 9.5, juice a little bit to under. So maybe it's probably going to hang 9.5 is my guess. As a Red Sox fan, what do you think about Cutter Crawford's season? And are you going to fall off the anti-Toronto train?
No, I'm still on the anti-Toronto train, but I feel like this number doesn't really. It's not been even in this series. They've been more like the Red Sox have been more like a minus 120 favorite,
Right.
125. So
Yeah.
this is a little bit more than that. Cutter's been inconsistent, probably, is a nice way to put it. His off-speed stuff isn't really working. Um, Rodriguez, though, I'm not in love with anything that the Blue Jays are doing, as I've said before. So, I mean,
That's one way to put it.
yeah, it's sure go Boston here. I don't like the number though, to be honest. It's not as enticing as it has been in the first couple days, or before Toronto's lost 7 in a row. So I've been riding that wave, but you do have to recognize it. If Vegas recognizes, then you're not getting as much value as I thought I was a week ago, and we'll see where it goes from here. But yeah, Red Sox at home. Let's do it.
Yeah, Yadier
One more
Rodriguez.
day.
I think he's been rumored as coming up for a long time. They're trying to stretch him out. I'm thinking 4 innings max, and then we get a Blue Jays bullpen, which is decimated by injury and doesn't seem to have much anyway. I'm pretty interested in not doing much of this one. Maybe look to over. But I got some questions about Cutter Crawford, and he has not answered them yet. Moving to interleague, we have Spencer Turnbull at I think it will be. I just had it. Who is pitching for Detroit? Jack Flaherty, but he's not confirmed yet, so that's not a good sign. Jack Flaherty will not be a 166 underdog at home to Spencer Turnbull. So, what do we think about Jack Flaherty against a Philadelphia lineup that is nearly full strength? I think JC Realmuto is still out unless I missed his return. But Jack Flaherty's been awesome this year. If you just since there's no real number, I think that I can trust here. Who are you taking?
Yeah.
The Philadelphia Bats or Jack Flaherty's right arm?
So Turnbull's been very effective, but I believe he's been out of the bullpen, and this will be
Yes.
his first. He's kind of moving back into the starting rotation, so that'll be a little bit interesting for him. Philly's a much better team. I know they're on the road. Flaherty, if he pitches, yeah, he's been great. I mean, I'm looking at his baseball savant numbers now, and it's red, very red. 95th percentile whiff percentage, K percentage, walk percentage, expected ERA. So like this guy's been great. He was great. Did he win a Cy Young? I think he either won it or got close.
I think
like
Flaherty was up in the voting. Yeah, I think
I don't think he won it.
it's kind of to me the Cy Young is just like, is your team really good? Are you famous? Like, have you been really good for a long time? I don't feel like it really encapsulates. The only like real like oh my god moment was when Felix Hernandez won it with a losing record, and all of a sudden it wasn't about pitcher wins, which was a good move. But to me, like betting those awards and stuff is just a joke.
He finished 4th in the Cy Young voting, so he didn't win. But yeah, it is kind of weird. He was promising, I know, and then got hurt, and now he seems to be reborn. So congrats to him and his wallet. Um,
Congrats to him and his wallet. Yes. I don't think he'll be making much of an appearance in ours tomorrow. I'll move now to Miami at Kansas City. Some guy named Belozo is starting. Might as well call him Bozo.
Bozo
Uh,
Belozo.
Kansas City is starting Brady Singer, who has not been much better than Bozo the Clown out there. Of course, against Miami, Singer, if there's ever, it's like that meme where you're like poking a dead animal with a stick and like, are you dead? This is the chance for Brady Singer to show that he's, I don't know, got something in the tank. Where do you sit on Brady Singer and that fastball that's very hittable?
Yeah, I want to believe in Brady Singer. He has elite extension. That's about it. So
Oh,
he gets
oh.
the ball close to the plate. I don't know. So
I
it
didn't
does
know he
make
had
his
that long of a hair, but I guess I haven't looked at him that closely.
yeah. Um, I'm really worried about the KC offense.
Mm,
They got shut out
mm.
twice in a row, Saturday and Sunday. They only scored 2 runs the day before. They only scored 1 run and lost 2-1 to Miami tonight. Like that's and they only scored four. I mean, last night in their victory. But yeah, I don't want to back KC right now. I'm putting the pause on that. I've been backing them at home almost, like quite frequently. I'm not gonna do this one though. I don't love Singer. I want to believe, but like it's just not quite there. Like you said, he gets some ground balls, but his fastball is not great. Um, Belozo and that's just an unfortunate last name,
Yeah,
but
well,
it's
yeah.
Beyozo probably. We'll go
I hope
Beyozo.
Bellozo, sure.
Yeah.
Even though I gotta say, I don't know a lot of Spanish speakers with that type of combination of letters. Um, I feel like
Yeah.
he's one of those pizza pastas out there.
It's
Anyway,
not Bellozo, like
yeah.
Spanish with the
Oh,
lisp.
yeah.
Yeah.
Probably not. Kansas City should be a big favorite. I don't know why. I wouldn't want to touch that, but I guess Miami's that
Yeah.
bad. Moving now
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
Houston for Colorado at Houston. We got Ryan Feltner at Spencer Arrighetti, who's been getting a ton of respect from the marketplace for a long time. Whether it's deserved, I'm not sure. But Arrighetti minus 188 favorite at home. Total is 8.5. She's pretty heavily to under. I don't know how much higher they could make this because Arrighetti is a rookie and he's got real issues with control. But it is the Colorado Rockies coming into town, and Houston's playing well.
Yeah. Houston is playing well. Are they back? They're getting to 500. They are the closest they've been to the Mariners in I think a couple months. They're 5 games
I'm
out now.
tempted. I know you have
Yeah.
some candy on the Rangers getting back in this, and certainly their pitching could get them there if they could, I don't know, just hit it all from
Yeah.
Hall of Fame, everyone last year in that lineup to now everyone's average. Like, what a regression. I've never seen a reversion to the mean quite like that. But I gotta say, Houston, I don't really trust Seattle. I feel like Houston, if I'm picking someone to win that division, and of course I'm getting odds on it, I think I'm taking Houston.
Yeah, if I were to pick this game, I would pick Houston run line. I mean,
Okay.
I don't want to pay $2 for one. So
Yeah. I think
let's
Colorado away from Colorado is
yeah.
pretty easy just to look the other direction, find what price you're willing to lay. And if you want to do a -2.5 or something like that, just something gigantic, expect a blowout. I wouldn't be shocked in getaway day that Colorado is going to rest their one confident hitter, Ryan McMahon. Moving next to those Texas Rangers and Nathan Eovaldi, he's at Milwaukee Colin Ray, who swear to God, 4-run lead. I don't know what Pat Murphy, their manager, I think was asleep Friday night. West Coast, long way from home, late game, and just leaving Colin Ray just to serve up some moonshots to give up a 4-run lead. Or 4-1 lead. Looks like Ray is a slight home favorite. Milwaukee's pretty good at home, -108 at Bet Online. Over under is 8.5, juice pretty heavily to under. Ivaldi has been, I think, pretty good since he came off
Mhm.
the IL, considering he didn't make any rehab starts. But you're probably more clued into Texas because you're not blacked out from every game.
Yeah, he has been good the last couple times out at least. He had one kind of blip, but it seems if I remember correctly, it's something like 5 out of the last 6 starts have been pretty good. Ray is not as good as even his numbers would indicate. He is, I'm looking here at a 3.62 ERA in real life, but an expected ERA of 5.32.
Mm.
So he's probably due for some regression. This is might be the weak link in Milwaukee rotation as well.
Definitely.
I like Texas as a short dog here.
Yeah, I feel like I'm waiting to see that number climb a little bit. I am scared of fading Milwaukee at home, and I don't know how Colin Ray does it. As you said, he's a candidate to go back to the AAA type of level. Um, and I gotta say, from what I saw in San Diego, who've not been good at home either, as a big underdog, I was not impressed, even though he's had a pretty good record at home so far this year. Moving now to New York, to the Subway Series, got Luis Heel at Sean Manaea. Looks like Heel minus 140 favorite on the road. Over under is 8.5, just pretty heavily to over. The Mets without Edwin Diaz, who accepted his 10-game suspension for sticky substances. Guess he was getting a little handsy with himself before he got out there to close a game on Sunday Night Baseball.
Yeah, speaking of blackouts, this is good because now I only have one game that's blacked out for me, and they're playing each
Oh,
other. So yeah,
nice.
um,
Didn't know where you're going.
I
So
did hear
starting
though.
with
So I
blackouts
have the
can go a
big
long
inning.
way.
I have the big inning on, and sometimes they'll do a live look in. So I did hear one of the New York announcers, the Mets announcer, say that the Yankees are only 9-10 against left-handed starters. And there's something
Hmm.
like 42-20 against righties, or whatever the rest of the math is. Don't
Whoa.
quote me on that. But they're only 500 against left-handed starters. If you wanted to back the Mets in this game, which I might be interested in it, I won't be able to watch it, so I probably won't even. I don't like betting games I can't ever watch. But
Right.
you know, I like the left-handed starter idea. Luis Heel has been on unbelievable this season, except for that last start. That last start was nasty. I don't think he got out of the second inning, and he gave up many, many, many runs. So
Bounce
I'm not
back
saying that.
time.
Yeah, bounce back time is right. I don't think he'll be that bad again. But I might think about the under here too, and think about the lefty on the hill for the Mets.
I mean, that's a good stat. I feel like if that stat is real, and I mean the Yankees being 500 against anybody as a favorite, pretty much every game they play would be saying something. Sean Manaea, if he's able to get knife through that Yankee lineup, then I think they have a problem. Houston or the Bronx, we have a problem against left-handed pitchers because I just like Sean Manaea, he is what he is, and I don't think a high sinker is ever really going to get through a decent lineup, or what he does just feel like smoke and mirrors all the time. And one tip, and I don't want to get too deep into this because I know you might go on forever, but if you wanted to watch the Mets and the Yankees game later after it ends, I believe the blackout only applies to live games, so you can watch it afterwards,
Ah,
after the fact. Little tip. Moving next to the Dodgers at the White Sox. So there's no time for Addy Brooks Becks to respond. We got Gavin Stone at Eric Fetty. Wow. Stone minus 182 favorite on the road. Over unders 8.5, just a little bit to over. Fetty, Fetty Wap, he's got a Dodger lineup that doesn't have Mookie Betts in it. So that's the best chance he's got.
yeah. I mean, he went to Korea, right, and
MVP,
retooled his arsenal. He went to Driveline and did, I think it's called Driveline, and
MVP of the Korean baseball.
yeah,
Oh,
completely
whatever the O
retooled
stands for.
himself. Went over to Korea, kind of proved it, and now has been all right. He's been pitching fine. I still don't like. I mean, come on, it's the Dodgers and the White Sox. Enough said.
One team
Yeah,
dominant regular season force, just one you don't know what
Otani.
to mess with, even without Mookie Betts and with a pretty weak bottom of the order. I just haven't found a lot of chances or like opportunities to bet against the Dodgers. I did with your cellar dweller Blue Jays, I think 3 games in a home series earlier this year, and I think they got swept. So that was a really tough weekend. I think I was like out somewhere. I was just betting the Jays, checking the scores, and being like, well, that didn't go well. Friday, Saturday, that didn't go well. Sunday, that didn't go well. And getting swept by a team you really don't like, it's really not my favorite experience. Last but not least on our card before we get the best bets, we got Minnesota and Simeon Woods Richardson, the Houston native, at Arizona's Ryan Nelson. Looks like Woods Richardson, a minus 116 road favorite. Total is 9 on this one. It is not getaway day, or it might be, but it's a late night start. Do you believe in these Minnesota Twins favored on the road at Arizona, who's getting a lot of respect just last weekend or last week? Seems like this one's a little bit out of place to me.
Yeah, I like the Twins. I do. I've been kind of touting the Royals horn and telling everybody that the
I believe it'd
Twins
be tooting,
tooting the horn,
honk honk.
touting the team. Tout. You can
Yes,
still
yes,
tout something, but not a
you
horn.
can.
Okay.
Well, I think people say tooting because it's like you won't or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gotcha. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
um, so I think maybe my opinion is flip flopped. I can change my mind. So, the Twins might be the team that um, who's leading that division? The Guardians have to worry about.
Guardians, baby.
The Guardians have to worry about. But yeah, I don't really like the Diamondbacks still. So yeah, give me the Twins on the road.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the Diamondbacks bullpen's concerning. Ryan Nelson looked like he was batting practice for a long, long time, but he dominated the Nationals. I'm not sure what that says, but it seemed like I watched the broadcast from the Arizona perspective. I try to flip flop each time I watch a series, so I don't get all like the PR from like one brand basically. And it seemed like Arizona, I mean, of course, everyone loves their team that they broadcast every day and they're on the planes with them or whatever. But they seem to believe in Ryan Nelson. You know, he had a good start against Washington. We'll see if he can put this up. I feel like Minnesota's beaten really bad teams this whole year, which credit them. You got to do that. But I feel like against good teams, they've been pretty average. So we'll see what they do on the road in Arizona. It's a tough assignment, and we'll see if Ryan Nelson can keep this going. So as we mentioned at the top of the show, we are 6-0 in our best bets. So 3-0 each of us, our last three episodes. Our interns are still calculating our positive unit variance this season. But we'll get that to you at some point this season. If you're not a member of my Patreon, check it out, patreon.com/real_G Warner. If you're not following the podcast, do it at the real_G Warner on YouTube. Subscribe or leave a 5-star review. That's very important on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. Get more people listening, maybe get us to do more episodes. And of course, if you write something in the comments, we will have plenty of people. Well, I guess I'll just have a Brooks Bet ask something out if there's something that's relevant. I had a bunch of Patreon subscribers sign up today, but I can probably shout that out on a soccer podcast because that's been rolling lately. And we'll try to keep that going as at A Brooks Bets only focuses on American sports going forward, despite Copa America happening in the United States. So for best bet portion of the show, it's time for at A Brooks Bets to give you all his fourth straight winning bet. Might be more than that. I'm not sure who ended the streak or started the streak, but give it to us.
So we have I think a late breaking line here. We've got
Okay.
the Marlins Royals line up. I see the Royals are a -235 favorite,
Okay.
which
Okay.
seems very heavy. That's circa. But what I want to do here is bet the under in that game.
Okay.
It's showing 9 right now. I'm going to give
Yep.
the people an extra half a run. I'm going to go under 8.5. Under 8.5 because it looks like it's juiced to the under, so it might go there. And I want this to count. So under 8.5, Miami, Kansas City. Nobody, the Royals cannot hit the ball right now. The Marlins can never hit the ball. Let's go under.
Hey, this is real_G Warner on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, and on YouTube. This is the Betting the Pitch Major League Baseball edition. This is the 1-minute ultimate best bet portion of the show at A Brooks Bets. Just gave you his best bet. We are 6-0 our last three podcasts, 2-0 each time, 3 times in a row. That's how you get to 6. And he was trying to be really generous to people, but it's not necessary. He's going to take the under 9. It's juiced right now, but it's still a real number at circa. So we're going under 9. Vic Beloso at Brady Singer, Miami at Kansas City, as he tries to improve to 4-0, 4 straight winners in our last 4 episodes. The pressure will be on me. That's an early start, but I'm going even earlier. So I'm going to go for my best bet, the real_G Warner, Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, and on YouTube. If you're not a member of my Patreon, check it out, patreon.com/real_G Warner. For my best bet, I'm going Seattle, Tampa Bay, under 7.5 runs in a getaway day bonanza that might end in an hour and 1/2. And that'll do it for this episode. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you all next Tuesday night for the Wednesday card. Thank you for the support. Make sure you throw in some positive things on 5-star reviews and such on the various websites, and we'll see you all next week.